Hello everyone, I'm Chidinma.
And I'm Ojay. You can call me OJ. Welcome to ScholarChit Chat. We're your hosts on this exciting journey.
That's right. ScholarChit Chat is not just a podcast, it's a conversation, a talk show crafted to bring you a fresh, honest, and comprehensive perspective on academic scholarships, professional life, and the unique experiences of life in the diaspora or as an international student.
And we are not just talking theory, we're sharing insights from our own lived experiences because we've been there, navigating academia, chasing scholarships, and building our professional lives in a foreign land. So, a big thank you for joining us today. It's fantastic to have you on board.
Welcome back to ScholarChit Chat, everyone. Today's topic is something that many of us dread but almost inevitably encounter. So today we're going to be looking at rejection during graduate school application process. I think this is something that, almost every graduate school applicant has a unique experience or story for. I have my own. So you
Mm-hmm.
know how people say, last, everybody go chop breakfast. So we're going to be talking about chopping breakfast today.
Mm, breakfast is served. So, so yeah, yeah, Chidima, like this is a tough part of the whole process. Something that I feel like people don't talk about. But yeah, now we have the opportunity to talk about it, and we are going to be as real as possible. We're going to share our personal experiences with rejection, a lot of rejection. And we're going to share, maybe not a lot, I don't know, Chidima may have been a star girl. I've met star people that just get in at once. But anyway, and then we're going to share as well some strategies on how to handle it, how to move on, despite everything. So I say let's start with Chidima. So Chidima, can you share? I said if you're a star girl, you can also tell us, oh well, I don't know what you're talking about because life has just been, once I put in the effort, I get the results ASAP, ASAP. But otherwise, can you share a time when you faced rejection during your graduate school application?
I think I still have like my own story. I wish I could say, oh no, I just applied once. And I do know people like that. They
Yeah,
just some
true.
people actually even apply very casually. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
so serious about it, and then they got in. Well, I think I had my own fair share of rejections. So I think the first application I ever made, I didn't understand the process. I was so like, super excited and worried at the same time. So I kind of had a friend who I think I've also talked about severally in our podcast, Joy. So she
Yeah.
was really helpful. So at first it started with thinking about what do I want to do. Then I realized I want to do my master's in public health. So I started. Now, the first shock for me, and I think we've talked about it brief in the previous episode. Guys, you guys need to go back and listen to all of our episodes. I didn't know that, it required a lot of money to apply. So I'm
Yes.
not a lot, but at least considerable amount of money. So
Yeah.
anyway, so long story cut short, I got my passport. I remember going to the passport or immigration office in Abuja. I was there like, so I completed my application. I was super excited. So the funny thing is, it was during COVID, right? So I had to send my IELTS results from the US, from Nigeria to the UK, and there was
Okay.
a lot of issues with that. I had to go to DHL. And then, no, I didn't know it was actually for my certificate. I actually had to send my certificate to the school. I'm saying all these things to tell you the weight of the
UK.
how it came. Yes, actually, LSHCM. So they asked part of their requirement. I don't know if they have changed this, but you have to actually for them. So you're going to get an unconditional or sorry, conditional offer at first. And then
Okay.
for you to get your conditional offer, you need to send in your actual certificate, and your IELTS result has to be sent from the IELTS office. So
Yes.
I couldn't get a hold of the IELTS people. I had to, in fact, I went to the website. I started looking for who to reach out to. I reached out to one of the academic staff. I told them my results. I've seen the unofficial result. They were like, oh, I shouldn't worry. So I went to DHL, sent my certificate. They will send it back to you once they vet it, right?
For
So
real. Wow.
anyways, all these things I was waiting. So when I got my offer letter, I was like, okay, I'm still waiting for this. And lo and behold, my heart was broken.
Oh.
I didn't get the application. I felt so sad. more
And
so
you didn't
because of
get
all the
the
energy that
scholarship or
I didn't get the
admissions?
scholarship, sorry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I didn't
Mm.
get admission is different from the scholarship. So you can get admission, typical UK experience.
Mhm.
Oftentimes you get the admission, you don't get the scholarship. So the scholarship was different, but you
Mhm.
needed to have an admission for you to get the scholarship, right? But you can have admission without the scholarship. So I got in the admission, I was super excited. I was waiting for, and the funny thing is, I think that scholarship with me was just for two people. Is it two persons or one person. So the odds were very actually very low.
Right, yeah.
But still, it was so painful. That was my first experience, and I felt so sad because I was like, I did everything right. I wrote my IELTS. I had a very good band score. I felt my CGPA was good. My essay was good. So I did everything right. So that was really so painful. So I
Yeah.
think for me, the initial reaction was more like shock, pain, hurt, more so because I spent a lot of time, energy, and on it. So it was very painful. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my rejection experience. One of
Oh,
them, anyways.
yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. And I guess I can relate to a lot of things you've talked about. And yeah, I remember receiving my own rejection or chopping breakfast as a way. I think that, as you said, like you do things right, you go through the whole process. For me, I never had to send any documents. So for me, hearing about the UK and sending documents is the first this kind of it's the first time actually I'm hearing
Mm,
it. So I applied all online, uploaded my transcripts, uploaded my certificates online, and
mm.
at least I remember that time. I applied to University of Leicester, and in like 24 hours, I'd received the August admission. I was like, yes,
Wow.
star girl. I was feeling myself that, oh yeah, they've arrived, blah blah blah. The logo, no. Okay, time for money to come. Time to receive money. That's actually like where the contention, at least in the UK, I think that's a major thing, like the
Yeah.
funding, but it's separate from the admission. So they can easily distribute the admission. In fact, the more people they give admission to, the better for them, because they know that when it
Hmm.
comes to paying the fees, the wheat will be separated from the chaff. So the real
Yeah.
people will be separated from every other person. So yeah, that was it. I think it may have even been the Commonwealth one, or it was MasterCard. I can't remember. I think it was MasterCard. I
Mm,
first got the feedback and it was sorry. And I was like, oh my God, after everything. But to be fair, I think that year I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes that I had learned
mm,
from. And I remember feeling, I mean, the first one you do, like you shake yourself, dust yourself up. Yeah, it happens. Okay.
mhm,
The next one, you'd be like, okay, okay, what's going on? The next
mm,
one follow. And yeah, that time you start like seriously doubting yourself. And then the next one, you're
mhm,
like, okay, what is wrong? Something's wrong. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should just
mhm,
stop and all those kind of things. Like that's just what's going to like come to your mind. Like, okay, maybe I just thought maybe this is not for me, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe like a lot of that
mm,
actually. You just become very critical of yourself, very, very down. I was
mhm,
being very, very down and frustrated and just sad.
mm.
And I was in Nigeria and like there was no money and I did not even know where I was going to get work. And oh God, it was a very downtown. No, I will not
Back
be honest.
to
'Cause
you.
for me, the graduate school was like, oh, kind of redemption kind of thing. The redemption, like
Mm,
a pathway to success. Yeah. It's obviously a pathway
mm,
to success, but like that was the pathway to success I was most interested in, and I was like
mm,
putting all my energy in. So to see it not like really yielded any fruit was really, 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 really frustrating, annoying,
mm.
different kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, like to you, like, oh wow, I've done everything. So, like, how did you manage those feelings of disappointment?
That's a very good question. How did I manage the disappointment? I think for me, it was kind of a strange feeling, honestly. It was strange because,
Mm,
well, I feel like a lot of Nigerians can share this feeling of, because I didn't get to university the first year I wrote jump. So that was like the first time
mm,
actually I had a sort of setback. And it wasn't even because of my score or anything, like I scored well and everything. But I mean, this ones you can kind of check it off to, oh yeah, it's a Nigerian thing. And you're kind of aware of the system and you're like, you just take it in stride. But for this one, it was like you feel like crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. So it's really weighing down. So I had to take some time off. I think personally, the application cycle really helped me because there's a time for
Mm,
application, there's time for feedback, and then there's sort of like a mini break before you start another application again. So the
mm-hmm,
time between when I received the feedback for like not getting in and when I had to apply again, I
mm-hmm,
was able to take some time to think about myself. And then it was then I started to go online to actually like really, really look for information. So which is why I said I
mm-hmm,
think I made some mistakes in the first time because I
mm-hmm,
was not tapped into any network. I was okay,
mm,
but I wasn't doing all the right things as much as I thought I was
mm-hmm,
doing. So yeah, so I
mm-hmm,
tapped into networks. That's one thing I did. I like looked for networks of people that were
mm-hmm,
doing the same thing, and then I was able to learn from experience and see that oh, it's not just me. It's not just that I'm
mm-hmm,
terrible. Like people get it after multiple tries. I think to summarize it is that I looked for encouragement. So I looked for things to pick me up in that period.
mm-hmm,
So of course I took a break, as I
mm-hmm,
said, because it's good for your mental health. And then when I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to face this again, I just looked for networks of people who understood what I was going through, who were also going through the same process, and just being in that network like changed things for me.
mm-hmm,
Like it was a very
mm-hmm.
big change for me. So that's it.
Mm. That's really that's awesome, OJ. And I find out that as you said, reaching out to people who have similar experiences help. It's all about building that support system. And, I think that oftentimes with things like this, people generally think intensity is very important. So it's like you can be genuine, all right, right? And I think I've heard people say you can be genuine, but you can also be genuinely wrong. So it's more like just having that time to reflect where did I get it right? I think wrong. I think one of another scholarship I had applied for, and the dad scholarship. I mean, looking back, I'm not surprised that those people did not give me the scholarship. Like I don't deserve it because the application was so messed. I don't even know what I was thinking,
Yeah.
right? So I went and I scanned after typing out my documents, right, on
Mm-hmm.
Word, rather than upload the type thingy.
Yeah.
I printed, I signed because you have to sign. They said it's hand. I
Uh-huh.
scanned. I don't even like I don't know what I was doing with that. I think I uploaded the wrong documents. It was so hilarious. So, like, just
Oh.
having people around you, just knowing to have been through that system, know how to go through things is always super helpful. So, support systems are very, very important, and having a moment to relax, right? Like, re-strategize. Maybe I'm not going about things the way I should be. Maybe I don't have the right documents. I'm applying to wrong schools, and we talked about this previously.
So yeah, Chidinma, I mean, I think you're very, very right. You're very, very right. And I think
Mhm.
going forward, I would like to ask like how you were able to turn a rejection into a learning
Mhm.
opportunity. What did you learn from your experience with rejections?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of already have talked a little bit about this, right? So I think that I'm trying to look for a practical experience that's here. So the instance I shared, right? I think one of the things was that I had to speak to a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just told me, so she told me that she got a list, she identified the schools that she was interested in going to the UK. So she
Okay.
identified a couple of schools that she was interested in. So one thing I learned there is that you have to like put your eggs in a lot of baskets, right? So
Mm-hmm.
another thing is keep an open mind, like to the point that I applied to Saudi Arabia actually this time I came back. I was like, I'm going to go anywhere to do my graduate studies. Now, the thing is just keep an open mind, and that was very helpful. And I had to send my essays to my friend to like review, go through it all over again, just get feedback, identify areas for improvement, right? So I think that's one of the key things that was one of the things that helps me. And I think most also importantly is a mindset change. So for me, it was more of a thing of like looking for an application is a job. So like almost every day it was giving up was not an option,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I was not going to get to the point where I'm going to stop applying to graduate schools. So I
Yeah.
removed that as an option. right? And then like just focused on getting my applications right, getting feedback and just looking for areas for improvement. And the good thing about this is that the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like I think that because of the experience, I can finish a graduate school application like in 30 minutes right now or an hour and I'm done, like apply and I move on with my life. So I think that that's really helpful for me. So in summary, review your application, seeking for feedback, identifying areas for improvement. Are you actually even applying for the right programs? Right. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's very helpful.
Yeah, totally like chill, but like yeah, I like the way like you're applying all the steps to take, and definitely for anybody that's in that shoe, you want to take a step back, you want to be sure that you are sort of going in the right direction. Sometimes, yeah, you may have to reassess. Like you said, you explored Saudi Arabia. I'm like, wow, that was a real. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with Saudi Arabia, right? But I think
Yeah,
that
of course.
off the top of people's head, like Saudi Arabia does not really like come to mind. People want to go to the US,
Mm-hmm.
want to go to the UK, they want to go to
Yeah.
Canada. But when you have rejections in the first round, like yeah, like okay, maybe I can cast my net a little bit wider, and it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because I remember like the first response you gave, and you're talking about how maybe it was just two people they wanted. Like these
Mm-hmm.
positions, the slots are very competitive. The slots
Mm-hmm.
are very limited, and the positions are competitive. So
Mm-hmm.
the more you apply, the wider you cast the net, the better your chances of getting anything are.
Mm-hmm.
So again, again, I would say yeah, it's good to like reassess and not give up because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people would will want to give up in that time.
Yeah. You're completely right, Oji. So, Oji, for those currently facing rejection, like what practical steps would you suggest to bounce back better and stronger?
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, when I think back to my time and what the kind of things I did, so as I said, first thing for me was taking time off, and as Chidinma first point out, reevaluating.
Mm-hmm.
For me, finding a network of people that could help me. Then, of course, you then have to start doing things to improve yourself. Because to be fair, like I don't think even if you think you're like the best in you're like at the peak you are best, there's always room to improve. That's just the truth. The best things, even for the very best things, there's still room for improvement. So which is one of the things I would say continue to do as you are preparing to bounce back stronger. Improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So practical ways you can improve yourself, you can improve your CV, you can enhance your CV, and that was something I chased like very, very seriously when I left university. So after the first round of rejections, I did a ton of online courses. A ton of online
Mm-hmm.
courses. Coincidentally, it was COVID, and all these platforms had like free certification thing. I was learning
Mm-hmm.
like back to back. Now I've removed those things from my CV, but like at the point it was just all those things. And I wasn't doing like random haphazard things. Okay, to be fair, in a way it will look random or haphazard. But when I like
Mm-hmm.
tailor a CV, I will make sure that when I write a CV, I make sure that I tailor it to a particular opportunity. So I remove anything that is looking like, oh, I was just doing anyhow. I make sure that it was
Mm-hmm.
tailored. And so I mean, generally I had an interest in infectious diseases and data analysis at that time. So most things were actually channeled or tailored towards that line. So it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Then definitely, apart from courses, you can get more experience and you can work, you can intern, you can even volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that would build your skills, anything that's in because one thing that people do is like just take any experience that comes that way. Like for instance, you want to go to graduate school, you want to study maybe data science and you're like, oh, I don't want to be idle, so I'm going to be a restaurant manager because you
Mm-hmm.
saw the job. Sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand you have to hustle, but maybe you want to look for something that would also help your chances of where you are going.
Intensive.
If that is really what you're passionate about, like that is where you're putting all
Mm-hmm.
your eggs in, probably want to, if possible, volunteer for the time being or even just intern for the time being to get you closer, to gain more relevant experience to your goal. And I think finally, and most importantly, all the things you are doing is of course to prepare for the next application cycle. So as you're doing
Mm-hmm.
that, I think one other thing that I would say for my first round is that I started like I have all these people. I don't know. I procrastinate quite a lot, and I say, oh, I do my fine work under pressure. That's not true. It's never true anytime. So I feel like I did that same thing when I was applying. Like I applied very close to deadlines. So not the best thing to do. Never do that. You want to be able to cross your teeth and dot your eyes. Get reviews from multiple people, which is something I've mentioned. Like get review from multiple people, and you can only do that when you have prepared in advance. So, and then you can also, as prepare for the next application cycle, is like checking through schools, putting down their criteria, so that like those kind of things you can't do them in a rush. So yeah, I've mentioned a lot of things to do, but to bounce back stronger is to learn from the mistakes of the past and to
Sure.
prepare to be a better person in the future.
That's really fantastic, Ojay. I think you've summarized everything. And don't forget, sometimes take a break. You
Yeah.
know, a break is when you need to come back with new perspective, renewed energy, new strategy. So it's all about how you handle the no's on your way to that yes. Always remember that basically all you really need is one yes. Like you literally just need one yes. I know when I got the email for my Chidinma scholarship, like all the things I went through and all the previous rejections, I completely, and that's spur of the moment, none of them mattered anymore. Like
Yeah.
I've gotten my, and that changed my life forever. So I think
Mhm.
that's something that's very helpful. So I don't know, any final thoughts, OJ?
And I think you've said it. I like how you what you just said. And as you were speaking, I thought about like what they usually say about like child labor and childbirth, about how
Hmm.
when a mother puts to bed, kind of forget all the stress and everything that they had gone through to get that baby out. And I feel like it's the same thing for applications. So while there'll be a lot of breakfast, a lot of rejections, and you feel downcast, once you see that one yes, it definitely all fades away. So just remember that every rejection is a learning experience. Takes you closer to your success as long as you don't stop along the way, as long as you're not discouraged, as long as you make it a learning experience, you can become a better you after
Hmm.
any and every rejection. So don't stop, keep pushing, keep improving, and stay connected with those who uplift you.
Hmm. That's really awesome. Thank you so much. Beautifully said. Thank you all our listeners for joining us today. One key thing we want you to remember is that rejection is not the end. So people say oftentimes it's not rejection, it's redirection. So,
Yes.
but it's a part of your growth journey. So keep tuning into ScholarChit Chat for more insights and stories. And just listen to our podcast, relax. We've all been there. And until next time, keep chit chatting. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of ScholarChit Chat. If you found our conversation insightful and enjoyable, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated. We've got a lot more in store and we don't want you to miss out.
We are always diving into topics like this: academics, scholarship, professional life, and the international student experience. It's what makes Scholars Chit Chat your go-to podcast for a fresh perspective. Also, don't keep all this wisdom to yourself. Share this episode with your friends and family who could benefit from it. We are building a community of learners and would love for you to be a part of it.
Your thoughts matter to us. We want to hear from you. Drop your comments and questions in the chat or send your questions, suggestions, and comments to scholarchitchat@gmail.com. Your input helps shape the future of ScholarChit Chat.
So that's a wrap for today, and we'll be back with more insight stories and chit chats in the next episode. Until then, take care, stay curious, and see you soon.